heard you call. I wanted to sail upon your waters since I was 3 feet tall. You've had it all. You've had it all. I watched the man who rowed you switch from sails to steam. In your belly you can hold the treasures few have ever seen. Most of them dreams. Most of them dreams. Jimmy Buffett. This is one of his early, kind of early tunes. At least it predates his big hits. A Pirate Looks at 40. Now, it also turned into one of the songs that he played live, still does, pretty frequently. So it is one of his popular tunes. First showed up on his album in 1974, A1A, named after the Florida highway that runs along the coast, the East Coast, that would be, I think, at least of the United States. So, this song is great. It's also been covered by by a lot of people, but Jack Johnson has done it, and he's done it live with Dave Matthews. We will talk a little bit about his arrangement, which is even simpler than Jimmy's. Now, Jimmy's is pretty simple in the first place, but what we're going to do in this lesson is look at a lot of different things. We're going to look at some interesting arpeggios with your right hand. It's all a bunch of easy chords in the key of G. You don't even need to play any bar chords. So we're going to look at some arpeggios in the key of G. Just working your fingers like that. We'll have some nice little fills of sliding some notes around in spots. And then it's just a very simple song to sing. It has one section, one verse. Well, one section. There are like 6 verses, I think. But so you really just keep singing your way through it, telling the story. It's a great, simple to play song, telling a great story. Now, we're also going to take a look, though, at playing it in open G tuning, which makes it even easier. So that's a cool thing about this song. That's one thing about a very simple chord progression is if you only have a couple of chords in the song, it's pretty easy to play it in different tunings, or especially in this case in an open G tuning, and just get through the couple of chord changes and quiet there. The couple of chord changes and some nice little fills, and that's what we're going to see in our open G tuning, which I'm not in right now, but we're going to be looking at a part that goes something like this. Then when it goes to our C chord, we're going to hear this, and we'll just be strumming this part with a pick. Now we're also going to hear this kind of thing. So that's what we'll be looking at in the G tuning. And I'm also going to do that a slightly different way. We're going to learn that part without tablature, just talk you through about 3 or 4 chord shapes. So a lot of different things to learn with A Pirate Looks at 40. I mentioned in the preview that this song is almost 12-bar blues. Now, it doesn't sound anything like blues for a couple of reasons. It's a very slow ballad in the first place. And the second is it doesn't use any 7th chords, but it follows the 12-bar formula pretty closely. So if you're familiar with 12-bar blues, you know that we have 12 measures that are broken up into 3 lines of 4 measures each. And so the first block of 4 measures is usually devoted to chord number 1 in the key. The next block of 4 revolves around chord number 4, and the last block revolves around chord 5. Now, that doesn't mean it's even the main chord that gets played in there, but I'll get to more of that in a second. So we're in the key of G. Chords 1, 4, and 5 in G would be G. The second step of the G scale would be A. The third step would be B, and the fourth step would be C. So we're going to see C chords, and the fifth step would be D. Normal chords in the key of G. We're going to play our G chords with our 2nd, 3rd, and 4th fingers. We're going to move to a C after 4 measures of this, playing C, just with our standard fingering. And then back to G, and then we're going to see A minor 7, played with just your 1st and 2nd fingers, similar to a C chord. And for the B minor, you don't even need to play a bar here. That's an important thing about this song. The right hand's going to be doing some mostly standard finger picking, where you're using your thumb for bass notes and your fingers for melody notes. But we're going to have some times where you play, especially the fourth string is sometimes going to be a melody note, meaning it's played with your finger, and other times it's going to be a bass note played with your thumb. And so the rhythm that we have in the introduction, we need 3 bass notes per measure. One played on beat 1, the next one played on the and of 2, and the last one played on beat 4. So we need to hear this rhythm. Let's walk through the tablature note by note, keeping in mind that it never has to go exactly this way. So I really, again, want to encourage you to experiment with different things, but try to pull out the highlights of what's happening here. So as we go through this, I'll point out stuff that I think is important and stuff that I think is not important. So in the introduction, the important thing is that you hear this in the bass. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. That you hear those bass notes. I talked about it in the right hand close-up. Why then we want to start with your 3 fingers on the second, third, and fourth strings in the very first measure, and play this. So if you want to play the Jack Johnson version, it's even easier. He simplified this incredibly easy song. Just by doing a straight arpeggio on every chord, 8 beats, thumb, index, middle and ring, back to index, and then repeating that with a different bass note. So our G chord would be thumb on the 6th, index, second and third fingers, and then back to your index. That's half the measure, and the second half would be you just change bass notes. Well, this song works really, really well in an open G tuning. It's really easy to play. Now, to get into an open G tuning, you just have to lower 3 strings a whole step. The 2 E strings both go down to D, and the A string goes down to G. So I already have my E string tuned down to D. The best way to do this is with an electronic tuner, but this is still a good song to start learning a little bit about open G, because it can be really easy. All we're going to do in this tuning is play some 2-finger chords, well, and a couple of 4-finger chords, and then just keep strumming. So we're not even going to do, although you could apply the picking that we were doing in the earlier section and run through it. Well, I think that is really about it for this tune, because if you could just follow the tablature a little bit, or even exactly, no, don't follow it exactly. Make it up, change it. Don't let it go the way that I tried to get you to do in this lesson. And just keep your fingers moving, keep a steady beat, and just accompany your singing with any old thing. You could absolutely just strum this song. Go to a full B minor here. So there you go, a campfire version. Just strum the chords, sing the song, tell me the story. But you can also add in all of these nice little changes that we did. The arpeggios, the half arpeggio, half alternating measure, and the triple bass note measure where we have